lights, camera, you get the rest. So back, yeah, back and rear delts. Time to freaking throw this crap around. So Friday night, Halloween weekend, I foresee that the fucking gym is going to be dead. You know, especially in a college town, but I'm sure there will be some real ones floating around still getting their workout in. Everybody's fucking running around in costumes. Fireman girl, whoever those girls are dressed up as. You get the gist, right? I'm gonna dress up in my dying breed hostile baseball tee as well as a stringer and get a freaky ass pump. Freakier than any fucking Halloween costume. So, I drank the pre about 10-ish minutes ago. 2 scoops of roaring grape bloodshot, perfectly combined with 1 scoop of grape bubblegum hostility. And 10 grams of the fucking beta-alanine is really starting to hit me. I ran out, and I just got my little tub of the hostile beta-alanine like yesterday. So I'm fucking kind of feeling it. It'll get me in the face first, and then kind of the ears a little bit, and then sort of the back of my hands, which kind of, not my favorite feeling, but I want that endurance, performance, benefits. So I'm gonna keep doing it for a while. The beta-alanine's a little tricky though, because you know it's something where you have to load it like creatine. So if you just take beta-alanine once, you're not going to notice any benefits. It's kind of like a systemic thing over time. So, you know, if you can't handle the tingles, then you might have to wait a while and deal with them before you actually kind of get the benefits. But I kind of get used to it after a couple of days. Like if you've never taken a pre with beta-alanine before, it'll probably hit you kind of fucking hard. I said this in another video, but whatever, I'll just repeat myself. You know, I left an old pre at the house, like a really old one. I don't even remember what kind of label it was, but it had beta-alanine in it. And my brother texted me, he's like, "Can I have some of this?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, just fucking take it." And then later that night, he's like, "Dude, I think I'm fucking allergic to this shit." And I was like, what does it feel like? Do you like feel kind of hot and like sort of tingly? And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's the fucking beta-alanine." So don't be alarmed if you've ever had that situation beforehand. Just be aware of it. So, you know, I didn't feel that little tingly feeling instantaneously either. I say this speech every time I fucking talk about pre. It takes a little bit of time to get kicking. So drinking it right before your first working set, it's not really going to do anything for you. You're not going to get any benefits. I'd say probably 30 minutes, 20-ish minutes before your first working sets, then you should start to actually feel a little bit of the caffeine going on and the nitric oxide, vasodilation, you know, all that fancy stuff going on like that. So, plan for back if we're getting a little bit more specific with this rant. Pull downs, rows, maybe pullovers, not exactly certain. Because there's a machine pullover like, you know, old school Dorian Yates style where you're fucking pulling on the lever, which is cool, but sometimes I don't really love it. I don't know, I'll just have to see what happens. So, other than that, I know for a fact I'm going to do some seated cable rows. I'll go a bit lighter, a little more controlled, because I feel like I get a better pump doing the rows a bit lighter and really squeezing it, even doing a little bit of a pause rep on top and holding it. But pull downs, I'm still going to throw some weight around. An even mix of really heavy sets where you're really pushing it, you're letting the form break down hard. Or you're not letting the form break down hard per se, right? You're just reaching like legit failure. Like when I do these fucking pull downs, the last few reps of the set are not how I would want to do an entire set. But if the first few reps are, you know, legit solid range of motion like normal as they should be, and then I get so fatigued that I can't do full reps, you know, for the rest of the set and I just burn out with partials, I think that's a pretty a pretty solid system. But then again, it's also good to do a set where you do, you know, pretty much full range of motion every rep, lighter weight, and you can really squeeze. So an even mix of both styles, I think will probably do you good. And then maybe if you kind of tweak something, or you can tell your shoulder's feeling a little bit off, then just do more of the, you know, the lighter squeezing sets. You're still going to get a pump. And as long as you get that burning feeling and you really push it, you're still going to stimulate either some muscle growth or some muscle maintenance, right? Which of the two occurs is just dependent on how much freaking food you're eating. You know, the whole point of training is simply to stimulate fatigue, you know, do damage to whatever your intended muscle of the lift is. And then once you get home, right, that determines how your body's going to react to that stimulus. So if I destroy my fucking lats and my traps and my rear delts, right, they're destroyed. As soon as I get home and I start eating a bunch of freaking, you know, muffins and baguettes and ribeye steaks and ground beef, my body's going to be like, dude, we got to fix this shit. And we got a ton of freaking nutrients and energy to do so. Let's thicken up these fucking fibers, myonuclei, right? And if I don't have that much energy floating around, like if I'm in a calorie deficit, then my body will be like, shit, man, we gotta fucking repair this shit. Maybe not do so much that it's gonna actually get, well, actually definitely not repair it so much that it will be bigger, but, you know, it'll still maintain its size and strength at the cost of, you know, burning some extra calories of fat on your body, rather than, you know, extra calories that are floating around from eating in a surplus, as it were. So I'll do a little bit of a cable warm-up of biceps, rear delts, forearms, a little bit, pretty much everything that's going to come into play, right? If I'm about to do chest, I'm going to warm up with some light single arm pushdowns, because I know that my triceps are going to come into play when I'm pressing. Even if it's not that much, like even if it's not the primary muscle that I'm going to be using, and it's a secondary one, you know, it's still going to be under tension, so it's still got to get warmed up. So I'm going to find somewhere to freaking park and we can get in there. All right, so as predicted, it is fucking dead in here. So in a situation like this, you're not going to be able to rely on outside motivators for the most part. You know, there's fucking nothing going on in here. So yeet so high up, that'll get me going. Throw this shit around. Okay, let's do one more just like that. Okay. All right, little change in handles. Let's do one more and then move on to a row or something. Okay, let's do a drop set. Okay, I think that's enough on pull downs. Let's go do some machine rows. Okay, so this row machine isn't the heaviest, but with the whole stack, it's a weight which I like enough to be able to do slow, controlled reps and really focus on squeezing. You know, if I were to jump on the seated cable row, which has a ton of weight, you know, sure, I could probably do as much weight as I could do for 10 or whatever, and kind of a swinging, rapid motion kind of set. But like I was saying in the car, when I do rows a bit slower and controlled and really squeeze, I mean, the pump is noticeably better for me. But then again, I also do a couple sets heavy, kind of rapid too, in those same lifts. So, you know, just looping back around to some shit I've been saying almost every video, a combination of really heavy sets and lighter, controlled squeezing sets. I mean, that's the best way to go about it. Well, that's okay. That's not true. That's a good way to go about it. Don't ever catch me saying this is the best way, you know. So let's throw this shit around. Right, I think I overestimated my strength. That was heavier than I thought. That's good though. Let's do one more like that. Okay. I think that's as much as I want to do here. Let's do some machine pullovers. Sam, don't you know you have to put your elbows on the pads? That's how you're supposed to do the pullover machine. Don't hold on to the bar with your hands. Now, that might feel good for you. You know, for you, you might get a super good squeeze on your lats using the pads. But for me, I like holding on to the handle itself. You know, don't just get locked into convention because, you know, you see the pads, so it would make sense. Like, okay, so I'm supposed to put my elbows on here. You know, if you look at a machine and you only think about it in the exact purpose which it was intended, dude, I think you're just thinking within inside the box, you know. Broaden your fucking imagination. But I think it's set with the stack here. Should be solid. You know, buckle in, really try to squeeze. Nothing else to focus on other than that. There we go. Oh. One more. That's enough of that. Honestly, today, the pullovers only felt mediocre. Now, the only question is, do I want to finish with rows or pull downs? We'll find out in a moment. I think some upper back biased, converging cable rows should feel pretty good. Now, I know that's a fucking roundabout, fancy-ass way of saying it, but all I'm doing is sitting down, and instead of doing a row straight towards myself like this, right? The handles are a little bit lower than normal chest height, and there's also two of them. So rather than just pulling towards my body, I also kind of feel like I get an extra good squeeze because I'm kind of pulling inward as well, right? It's as if I was fucking, I don't even know. I can't even imagine a movement, which I feel like fucking Captain America in Infinity War, or was it Endgame, where he's holding the helicopter? Whatever. Either way, I'm gonna sit here, really squeeze the fuck out of my traps, rhomboids. I don't even know if you can target upper or lower lats, but I'm definitely feeling some shit going on in here. So I think we'll just finish off with this and then be done. You know, most of these movements, even the rows in that machine earlier, I felt like a lot of it was lat biased. So I kind of want to finish with something more traps, upper back focused. Okay. Let's just check this freaking pump. All right, so 8 sets of back, fully pumped, and I feel satisfactorily fatigued. You know, for the most part, I think, well, I don't know. I haven't talked about volume for a little bit while. Well, you get what I'm saying. So my approach as it is now is I'm relatively under the assumption that if I go in for whatever muscle I'm hitting, hit it with with 8 hard sets, maybe a drop set here and again, you know, maybe a superset every once in a blue moon, but for the most part, 8 hard, heavy, straight sets, and I'm fully pumped at the end of them, then I think that's approaching about as much as I need to do to stimulate either muscle growth or muscle maintenance. Now, I was doing 11 sets for a while, and way before that, I was doing even 25. So imagine a back day where it was 25 sets total instead of the 8 that I just did. So I think over time I've kind of been homing in on the perfect amount of volume for me. But then again, I don't know. Maybe I won't get as big, this bulk, doing 8 sets per muscle as I did in the last one, doing 11, and then I'll have to make adjustments. But, you know, worth reflecting. Like, maybe think about your last chest day. If you did 20 total sets, maybe that's a little bit much, you know. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not going to work. A lot of shit works. You know, you can get big a lot of different ways. But, you know, worth thinking about. I'd say for the most part, a solid volume for a single workout for a muscle group. 6 to 12 sets, somewhere within there. If they're really hard sets, I think you're definitely stimulating your fucking muscle. Now, which number is perfect? Who fucking knows, man? You got to figure that shit out for yourself. Even I don't fucking know. But let's just see what kind of pump we got. Oh. What do you think? Do we look any different from yesterday? I guess now I have a back pump instead of a chest pump, but whatever. Oh. Oh, okay. Let's get a front lat spread going too. Oh. So, I forgot to mention, this morning weight was 234.6. I could foresee that getting up into at least the upper 230s over the coming days. And then it'll probably slow down to not a crawl, but just a steady growth. Because I said this in the last video, and I think the video before that one as well. You know, this initial jump in weight as I transition from cutting to bulking, it's really just me getting, you know, full of carbs and water and glycogen. I'm not just going to gain pounds upon pounds of muscle in the first week of the bulk, but the muscle that I already have is going to get, you know, completely full of carbs and sugars and nutrients, whatever. And then it'll be primed to, you know, regenerate itself bigger and stronger after each of the coming lifts. So, yeah, that kind of sucks. I'm going to have to say goodbye to these little bicep striations, if you can see them. But that's just the price of leanness. Or no, that's the price of bulkness. So, let's, I'm going to go slam reverse. Actually, not reverse. I'm just going to go slam laying face pulls. And then we can come back and see if the rear delts gain any size. I know they will. Stupid fucking question. Where the fuck is the button? There we go. Okay. All right. Apart from the fact that I feel like a fucking baby in a crib, like reaching up, grabbing his fucking mobile when I grab the fucking handle to set this machine up, I really do like the squeeze on these. You know, I'm trying my best not to use any traps or, you know, biceps. Because just by nature, I mean, even though it looks pretty funky, it's basically just a row, right? But instead of pulling down here, I kind of have my arms up here. So if I'm not careful, my traps could come into play. My biceps could come into play. You know, and sure, I could still use my rear delts, but... Oh, I thought I was going to burp again. You know, my rear delts are what I'm aiming for. So the only things that I'm really trying to do is, sure, I got to send a couple signals to my fingers to fucking hold on to the handle. But other than that, I'm just trying to focus on, like, in my mind, I'm almost imagining, like, this motion, right? Just my rear delts firing. Now, the fact that my hands are holding onto this fucking handle, that means instead of looking like this, it looks like this. So, you know, whatever you got to imagine in your mind, which will let you squeeze the fuck out of your rear delts, do it. So, 5 more. There we go. Okay. Oh. All right. Let's go check the pump. All right, they're like 5 minutes to close. They're getting ready to kick everybody else out. Well, I don't know what I'm saying. Everybody else. They're about to kick everybody out, me included. So let's check out these side delts and freaking roll. So for me, it doesn't sound very cool, but I kind of get to go a little bit easier with my delts training, just because they're kind of ahead of the game relative to everything else. But rear delts, abso-freaking-lutely incredibly important to making your shoulders look big. Even just sitting here with good posture, I mean, having them developed and they poke out over the back of your traps, I mean, that's the fucking definition of capped delts, you know. Everybody's got some meat in the front from pressing and incline and everything else. And from the side, I know you've probably been doing your lateral raises for sure. But the back, the rear delts, neglected muscle if I've ever freaking seen one. Let's just get a freaking side tricep and a lat spread and then roll. Actually, yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah, whatever. Oh. Oh yeah, that's what I'm freaking talking about. Yeah, dang it. All right. Well, they're closing up. Let's get in the car. All right. Yeah, I miscalculated my timing on this one. No calves for me. Like a total freaking a-hole. I'll be all right. I'm definitely going to try to get my daily calf stimulation in, right? Post every lift, 8 sets, heavy, 20-ish reps, get a good pump. I think calves will respond to that kind of training, and they'll definitely respond to any kind of training more than none. So, come on. It's not even that hard, man. Like when I do calves, I'm for the most part for my legit lift, like for legs, for chest and back, in between sets, I'm not really playing on my phone too much. I'll scroll around to like pick new songs and stuff like that, but I try to stay relatively in the zone. But for stuff like calves or, well, today with rear delts, I could kind of take the pressure off a little bit just because it doesn't require so much like mental focus for me to get a good set, right? For me, I would not want to sit around and scroll on Instagram for, 2 minutes before I do a set of squats, right? I really got to get in the zone to push myself. But for those sets of rear delts, all there is to it is to do it, stimulate the muscle. Same thing with calves. Now, if you got fucking trash calves and it's not purely genetic, I've definitely seen some unfortunate calf insertions, shapes, size. You get the gist. So I'm not saying calves is not genetic. There's definitely a genetic role being played in there. But come on, at least try to get them bigger, man. What do you have to lose? Maybe 15 minutes at the end of your lift? And what do you have to gain? Big calves? Hey man, that's fucking badass. So post lift, just burned off some intramuscular glycogen, some energy. I gotta replenish it. Oh, what do you think this thing is? What do you freaking think this thing is? We're getting OG with it. We're getting back to basics. Check the comments if you don't know what's going on. Oh yeah, nice and fucking sweet. So, intra-workout and kind of pre-workout too. I want to sip on some clustered dextrin, berry flavored, mixed berry. But post-workout, I want the simplest carb that I have at my freaking disposal. Guess what that one is freaking called? 2 syllables. Exactly. I know you played along. You know what's going on. The freaking dextrose shake is back. Just post-workout though. I want a freaking insulin spike. So that 50 grams of dextrose in that shake with a scoop of the chocolate ISO H1, the hostile protein powder. But I mean, I want some protein, of course, but really the treat is the dextrose. I want to spike my blood sugar, which will then result in spike in insulin, which will freaking shoot those carbs, that glucose, that muscle, what's the word I'm thinking of? Blood sugar, there we go, into my lats, into my traps, into my rear delts, and just fast track my freaking recovery process. If you're gonna, if you're anti-sugar, whatever, but if you're gonna have sugar sometime during the day, I think post-workout is probably the best freaking time. Just because that's when you want a quick acting carb. That's when you want something that's really going to spike your blood sugar. Post-workout, just shoot some... Because what do you think insulin does, man? Right? When you have a blood sugar spike, it gets lowered when your body releases insulin. And all those carbs in your blood are getting sent somewhere. Now, some of it's going to be converted into fat cells just from being in a surplus. Just to, not very quickly, of course, but a little. But the majority is just refeeding my freaking lats, traps, all that goodies, all those freaking goodies. So that will definitely be another staple of the bulk. I could have done the dextrose shake on the cut as well, but if you're dieting, you don't really want to drink your calories. You want to eat them. I'd rather have 50 grams worth of low carb bread throughout the day. Well, 50 grams of carbs worth of low carb bread, before and after training, rather than just thrash it all, post-workout. So tomorrow is going to be arms and forearms, of course. I'm adding in my pronator. No, that's not right. That is not the right word. I forget, whatever. This beef down here, right, which is doing this curling action. I'm going to start adding those in after arms because I want some thicker forearms. Now, you may be inclined to think to yourself, oh, well, you know, I do reverse curls. I do hammer curls. I'm hitting my forearms enough. Not really, man. Come on, let's be real. Like, sure, you're going to be working the back of your forearm, right? This muscle right here, your brachial radialis, if we want to get all technical with it. Sure, you're hitting that pretty well. But in just normal training, apart from just holding on to shit, you're never really thrashing your forearms down here. So some dudes just have huge forearms from using them to hold on to weights and stuff in the gym, right? There's a ton of freaking beasts who never train forearms, and their forearms are freaking gargantuan. But that is not me. That is not me. And my forearms will benefit from some direct and consistent training. You know, same thing with any muscle you're trying to grow. Even your freaking neck. You know, that's kind of a rarer comment, but sometimes I'll get questions like, dude, how do I thicken up my neck? This might be something you'd want to do at home with like a little 15-pound dumbbell or something, so you don't have to do it in the gym. But, you know, any muscle, if you do train it and fatigue it and get a freaking pump, you know, it'll be prone to growth, combined with a calorie surplus, of course. So, you know, sit on the end of a bench or the floor or whatever. If I can hold a 20-pounder on your forehead with your hands for as a cushion, and just sit here and, like, you know, go like this, or maybe sit sideways and do it the other way. You know, I've done a neck workout kind of just for fun. I wanted to see what it was like to have a neck pump. And I mean, shit, man, it fucking works, you know? Anytime I fucking chew on like a bag of Skittles or some shit, or some really or some gum when it's cold, I'll get like a jaw pump. You got muscles all over your frame, man. And if you want to grow anyone specifically, you gotta freaking hit it directly. So tomorrow before arms, of course, I'm going to do my 30 minutes of cardio. On a bulk, on a cut, on a maintenance phase, cardio is a fucking staple, or at least it should be a staple in your training. Right? Better endurance, better metabolism. Where's the drawback in cardio? Right? I know what the drawback in cardio is. It's the fact that you have to go out and do it. You know, you guys act like I'm fucking, what's the word? You guys act like I'm lobbied by big cardio, as if I'm gonna make fucking millions upon millions of dollars by preaching this cardio campaign. Dude, come on, be real. The only person who's gonna benefit from you doing cardio is you. I'm just trying to watch out. You know, I want to live in a world with more freaks, with more just fucking beefcakes walking around. So cardio is going to help you achieve that. I will say that with reasonably high degree of certainty. Right? Cardio I don't want to say daily, because I mean, you know, even sometimes I skip it. But cardio on a consistent basis, as I'd say as close to daily as you can get, combined with, you know, consistent and hard weight training, combined with, I don't want to say a bulked up diet or like a surplus or a deficit. So let's just say combined with a gram per pound of protein per body weight, which is about how much protein you should be eating, whether you're bulking or cutting. You know, you fucking add all that up with maybe a splash of funk remixes and Shonen Jump anime, plus some old Machiavelli, you know, Tom Platz, Kevin Levrone, Dorian Yates motivational edits. You know, you let that simmer for a couple years and boom, you got a fucking beast. So that's all I gotta freaking say, man. I think so far I'm at about 3,800 calories for the day, comprised of a variety of carb sources as well as proteins. It was nice when I went into the gym to do my cardio. I didn't get a Powerade 0, I got a full sugar Powerade. Yeah, damn right. Damn freaking right. So, I think that's all I gotta say. We're gonna keep bulking up. I definitely want to hit a new high in terms of the body weight on this bulk. which is kind of the goal for every bulk that I do. You know, started off here a couple years ago, of course. Bulk up, cut down, heavier than I was before. Do it again. Bulk up, cut down, heavier than I was before. And from my perspective, I think that the bulking cutting method for me specifically is better than just main gaining over time. So, you know, if I think that's going to give me the most beef in a reasonable amount of time, that's what I'm going to freaking do. That is what I am going to freaking do. So, I'm trying to think if I have any other conclusive statements. Yeah, not much. The training is going to stay pretty much the same. You know, even though now I'm bulking and the goal of the training is, you know, pretty different, right? I'm trying to put shit onto my body, not peel fat off, right? Even though the goal is, you know, pretty much as different as it could be, the training itself is pretty much the same, just because no matter if I'm bulking or cutting, the purpose of the training is just to stimulate the muscle, right? So in a dieting phase, of course, that's going to mean fucking maintaining strength, maintaining size while burning body fat in a deficit. And then in a bulking context, you know, when you combine this heavy ass stimulation from the gym, like your weight training, you know, you'll be able to make use of those fucking excess calories, that excess carbs, fats, proteins, whatever, you know, to build up your freaking contractile tissue. I feel like I don't have anything to say. I'm just kind of driving around looking at everybody in their Halloween costumes. Yeah, I don't think... All right, let's think of one more thing to say, and then we're freaking out of here. So... Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. Pretty fucking cool. I love Toji. Toji's a badass dude. Even though he doesn't have any fucking cursed energy. Still a fucking legend. Alright, now I'm just beyond rambling. I'm gonna get home, eat a ribeye combined with 2 packs of ramen. And then I'm gonna get ready for a good ass night's sleep and wake up and do it all over again. So, I'll freaking see you next time.